Welcome back, you lovely people. So Bitcoin is once again falling down 3.5%. Want to check back in on our two scenarios. We drew these out late last week, and they were that we continue to go sideways, and then we head up towards our launch pad. If you don't know how we came up with this launch pad area, then head back and watch the video from last week. This is where we expect to be between mid-August and mid-October, so that we can begin our parabolic run up to the cycle peak. And the second scenario, which is actually number one, is that we have a capitulation before we have our V-shaped recovery and up to our launch pad box. And yes, we're down 3.5%. It's looking more likely that we're going to follow number one, but that's certainly not confirmed, because I do want to note that we haven't yet taken out the low, which we have touched twice, is basically around, let's find it, the low would be around 29,000. And we have come in and touched that again. So we're coming off support at the moment. I could move my line in there. It would work really nicely. Essentially, we've come in for a third touch. So are we going to hold here and then head up, or are we going to break through this support? And if we do, where are we going? Well, it is honestly very hard to know. As we've said, worst case scenario we think would be 20,000, but most likely somewhere within that range, perhaps looking in here around 24,000, maybe 26,000, but we'd be looking for a quick spike down and then recovery up. They are our two most likely scenarios. Of course, it may be something that we don't expect, and we will wait and see. But there are, of course, more and more people every day turning bearish, which is exactly what we want to see. And I put out this tweet earlier. It's summer 2029, 2 cycles from now. Bitcoin drops from 10 million to 5 million. And everybody starts screaming that this time the halving model is broken. That is what everybody, or at least a lot of people, are saying. If we just check in with charts BTC, it's still, even if we're following the last cycle, and even if we're saying we can't dip below the last cycle, if we count it by block count, then we are still very close to the last cycle. This was about a month ago, so we're probably slightly below. But as you've seen, this line can go from being below to above, above, below, above, below, and then do we come back up and finish above? That is a very, very strong possibility. Expect some volatility this week. Tomorrow, we have the B words, Elon Musk, Jack Dorsey, and Cathie Wood meeting on stage to talk about Bitcoin for institutions. It is quite, let's call it, interesting that we have Elon Musk talking at such a major conference about Bitcoin. Of course, it was middle of May where he started his barrage of tweets that sent. It was one of the reasons why we are down at 30,000 now. Of course, we were due a capitulation, a mid-cycle shakeout anyway. So are we going to come back up the other side, which would look very similar, very similar to this capitulation? Are we going to have something similar on the other side, due in part, again, to Elon Musk? Are they going to meet on stage and convince Elon Musk to flip bullish again on Bitcoin? He did put out a tweet not so long ago that if more than 50% of Bitcoin's energy use is from renewables, then Tesla would start to accept Bitcoin again. The Bitcoin mining council did put out data to suggest that it is now more than 50%. So of course that is one way it could go. Or is Elon Musk once again going to spread some FUD about Bitcoin, and is that going to cause us to have our capitulation? And then how low do we go if that happens? We don't know. We have to wait and see. One thing I do know is that the other two people on that stage are uber bullish on Bitcoin. Jack Dorsey continuing to invest time and resources into the cause, and Cathie Wood is continuing to buy the dip. Added 310,000 Grayscale shares to the ARK ETF yesterday. She's buying the dip. Hopefully you are also buying the dip. Everybody that has bought dips in the past, if we zoom out, everybody who has bought these dips has lived to very, very much be happy with their decision to do so. I don't expect that this time is going to be any different. And every other time when the market has been this bearish, let's call it in May 2022, and probably, although we don't really have the Bitcoin wasn't as in the media in 2013 as it is today, but if you can imagine in the middle of the 2013 bull market, how bearish everyone would have been after this 82% correction, after the mid-cycle shakeout, which lasted, well, to the all-time high, lasted about 200 days plus. We are still about halfway in terms of that correction, in terms of length and the severity of the drop, probably a little bit less than half. So could we put in that final capitulation? Could we go a few more weeks sideways before we start moving upwards? All of this is possible. What I do know for sure is that the bullish case for Bitcoin, the fundamental case for Bitcoin, has not changed. So definitely expect that we are going to recover, we are going to make our move up, and we will be waiting and watching to see exactly when that's going to happen. But we are expecting the recovery to take place within the next couple of months, and we will be following it together. So thank you for supporting. Enjoy the weather, and I'll talk to you soon.